Hey everyone in the community, and welcome to you, especially if you are new. My name is Chris Waters and I go by the Huntsman on YouTube, and this is a video to talk about what I do and why I do it. It's pretty simple. Essentially, it's designed to rectify my ignorance over the last couple of years of just assuming that you understand what I do for a living professionally and the reasons why I do it. So I'm going to outline the various businesses that I run, and more importantly, the goal that I have, the professional goal that I've set myself to achieve, because everything I do is towards one goal. Everything. If you see me in a hunting video, if you see me promoting a product, if you see me speaking at an event, if you see my name anywhere in a professional capacity, I hope that it would be towards this single goal that I have in mind. So maybe let me start by talking to you about the goal that I have and then the various businesses that I run that are hopefully trying to achieve that goal. My goal is pretty simple. My goal is to improve hunting in Australia. Now, that's a broad goal. What does that mean? There's a few different things that sit behind that. First and foremost, I want to see hunting culture improve in Australia, become more positive, become more optimistic, become healthier. So that means hunting communities in Australia, building hunting communities in Australia, connecting hunters together in wholesome communities, helping them be mentored and grow in their hunting abilities, both technical and in a knowledge sense. And that's a lot of what I do with that is with the club that I'll talk about later. But I want to improve those communities, the value of those communities. And for the longest time, I think that hunting in Australia, hunting communities, or hunters in general have been misrepresented. We're seen as this bogan, bloodthirsty, just shooters. We just want to shoot everything. We just want to kill things. And that's not at all what the kind of standard Australian hunter looks like, or the vast majority of Australian hunters look like. We are professional men and women who love this wholesome activity, who have a burning desire to see, hunting flourish and increase in Australia and to connect other peoples with this wholesome activity that we love. So I want to help sow into that culture. I want to help sow positive ethics. I want to help sow and spread knowledge and experience and technique into that culture, because I ultimately believe is as that culture becomes healthier, that has a knock-on effect for the access that we have within Australia. So at the moment, we're considered a small minority by the general public that don't understand us. So we don't really have a voice. We certainly don't have a positive voice. And so when it comes to the government creating legislation about what hunters can and can't do, well, because we're not positively represented, because we don't have a great track record, because we're not seen positively, because the general populace don't understand us, we don't have a great crack at getting good legislation passed to improve access, to improve our ability to hunt and the places that we can go and hunt. And so I want to influence that space too. I want to influence law, Australian law concerning hunting. Ideally, I'd love to see public land hunting opened up in places like Queensland, in South Australia, in Western Australia. That's crazy, but that's a lofty goal. In Northern Territory, I'd love to see these states and territories expand hunting access. I'd also like to see strengthening of training when it comes to hunters, new hunters especially, or people getting their firearms license. The structures that are in place with like the DPI and most recently the GMA, who have been strengthening up their shooting kind of processes for people who are trying to get a new firearm license. I want to influence that. So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to do, but it's all towards this goal of trying to improve hunting. And I'm a firm believer as well that one way that we can do that is by improving the hunting economy. That is the business that surrounds hunting. So that means when people go and buy firearms, they go and buy hunting gear, binoculars, backpacks, front packs, when they go and buy ammunition, when they go and buy knives, all of these different products that kind of sit in this hunting economy. Well, I want to improve and strengthen that economy, and not just the businesses that are outside of Australia who represent their products here, but the Australian business. I want to encourage local Australian hunting economy, because I firmly believe that as our hunting culture increases and becomes better, as we're seen in a more positive light, that means more hunters come in and more hunters need to buy products to enable their hunting activities. Well, that means we're strengthening the hunting economy. And hunting tourism is a big thing. Understanding game animals as a resource rather than a pest is a big thing. All of this different stuff I'm working towards helping strengthen. So all the businesses that I run are towards that goal. And if you see me doing anything different, pull me up and say, Chris, Does this serve hunting in a positive light? Is this going to help hunting in Australia? And if it doesn't, well, you have the right to tell me off. And I will appreciate you telling me off and putting me back on the straight and narrow path towards that goal. But just also I ask that you assume that if I'm doing anything, it's towards that goal. So, what are the businesses that I run that are facilitating movement towards this goal? Well, there are 4 of them. 3 of them that I've been doing for a little while now. One of them that's just popped up recently that I've created. The first business is the Huntsman. Now, this is what your platform that you're watching this video on, more than likely. This is the YouTube channel. This is the Australian Huntsman season content and where that's shown. It's a whole kind of arm or a body of content and work that's helping kind of set values and entertain and educate. It's really about having a voice in Australia and having a personality or an image that positively represents Australian hunting. And I put a lot of work into that. The actual, at least at the point of recording this, the actual YouTube channel does very little to financially contribute towards my professional work capacity, but it's an arm that I use. It's more about connecting with people in the audience, and it's like a mouthpiece to what I'm doing. So that's the Huntsman. The second business has kind of just popped out of that recently, and that's called Amelpa Productions, AMELPA Productions. And essentially, it's the production company that will produce the seasonal content for the Huntsman. So there's the YouTube stuff that you see, various videos, tips and tricks, discussion pieces, product reviews and stuff like that. And then there's the seasonal content, which the documented hunts that are more of a package. Well, that package takes a lot of work to produce in terms of visually. There's a production crew that sits behind that work, camera operators, sound guys, editors, producers, directors, all that kind of stuff. And that is kind of housed and empowered by Amelpa Productions. Now, at the moment, Amelpa Productions only produces the Huntsman content, but maybe in the future, Amelpa Productions will produce other content. I don't know, but that's what that business exists for. The third business that exists that I run in a professional capacity, that's my day job, is Hunting Trips Australia, huntingtrips.com.au. Now, this is a guided hunt website platform that essentially lists all of the hunting guides and outfitters in the country. So what I mean by guided hunt or outfitter is a business that essentially provides a hunting service whereby you can pay them to go and hunt with them. They'll give you access to private land where you can learn to hunt or get access to animals, maybe a trophy animal, maybe a meat animal. They're essentially hunting guides. And for the longest time, these guides would all list their services via their own platforms and websites, and some of them weren't great at communicating. And so I pulled it all together in one single site that you can go and filter. And so if you're wanting to hunt chital deer in Queensland using a bow with the price budget of whatever for however many days, you can put all that into the website and it spits out all the guides and outfitters that provide services relating to that query. So that's that website. And I essentially run that. So I work with all of the guides in the country and I help people connect with those guides. And that's really designed about feeding into that hunting economy that I've talked about, because I'm a huge fan of public land hunting and you going out and getting your own meat, but I also think that there is great value in learning from professionals and learning from people who have experience. And yes, sometimes that's through mentoring, through things like clubs and stuff, but it's also should be a paid service that you can use. And so essentially that's the platform. And I think guided hunting in Australia has come a long way since Hunting Trips Australia, and because of Hunting Trips Australia. And I hope that guided hunting in Australia will become even more of a thing because of that website. That's that website. And the fourth business that I run and where I spend the vast majority of my time in terms of my day job is the Australian Hunters Club. And you probably, out of all the businesses that I run, this is the business that you probably hear me speak about the most because it's where I spend the most of my time, and it's actually where I believe most of the positive change is happening. So I'm a firm believer that if you're going to change anything anywhere, it's through a community. Communities change things. Like individuals, yes, within communities, but you need a community. You need a movement of people moving towards a goal if you want to see any change, or any serious or reasonable change. And the Australian Hunters Club is that community. It's, I believe, one of the most positive communities that are having the most impact in hunting in Australia. And that's a big statement, that's a broad statement, and maybe I'm biased in that statement because I get to see all the different things that happen every single day, all the different conversations between hunters who, previously not met each other are now connecting towards similar goals, who are people who are finding mentors, people who are getting access to property that didn't get access to property. There are a bunch of other clubs in the country, and I am a huge fan of hunting clubs in general. I think that the more hunting clubs we can have in Australia, the better, and that we should have good and sound and smart, intelligent and compassionate people leading those clubs. But this is my attempt essentially at doing that. And as the club grows, I believe that our influence on the Australian society will also grow. And I honestly believe that this is probably one of the most powerful vehicles towards seeing change in Australia, because change happens at a person-to-person level. Like, we can say, we can talk about hunting in Australia, but what is hunting in Australia other than individual hunters within Australia and individual people who think about hunting in Australia? That's what that idea represents. And so people in the Australian Hunters Club share those values. They share the values that I have, and I share their values, and we are together moving towards that goal of seeing hunting improve in Australia. That's australianhuntersclub.com.au. So essentially, that's what I do. I don't have any other job. I am full-time on those 4 businesses. That's what I do, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. I love it. I consider myself incredibly blessed and privileged to be in that position where I'm kind of at the nexus of a lot of things that happen in hunting in Australia. I know pretty much every single hunting guide in Australia. I know the vast majority of Australian hunting businesses and people who are creating products. I'm deeply connected into the content creation part of the Australian hunting industry. I know a lot of the content creators, either personally or via emails and conversations and phone calls and stuff like that. And so I consider myself very blessed to be able to go out and hunt professionally. Often when people ask me what I do, it's kind of difficult. Maybe I'll send them a link to this video. But I often say, they say, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I guess I'm a professional hunter, like whatever that looks like. I'm the host of this hunting channel. I run this production company. I'm the creator of this hunting platform, and I'm the president of this hunting club. That kind of means nothing to people. So, I'm pretty blessed. And I'm super thankful for everyone, especially in this community, whether you're part of the Australian Hunters Club or you just watch the Australian Huntsman content, doesn't matter. You're a part of this broader community, and I really appreciate your emails. I appreciate the awareness and your kind of attention that you give towards these videos. Every time that you watch one of these videos, every time you like one of these videos, if you've subscribed to these videos, to this channel, all of that I really, really appreciate. I don't ever want to ask you to watch videos. I don't ever want to ask you to subscribe. I don't ever want you to like a video. I feel like if you want to do those things, you'll do those things. You don't need me asking you to do that. So I never will, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate when you do. I really, really, really do. I wouldn't be able to do all of these things that I do at the moment if it wasn't for you, because your attention and your engagement with this kind of content helps facilitate those things. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, if you have any questions at all about anything that I've just said, about any of these different platforms, whether it's the Huntsman or ML Productions, or Hunting Trips Australia or the Australian Hunters Club, or you just have questions in general about how I've gotten to this point where I do this full time, I'm more than happy to answer them. I'm not sure my pathway towards any of these different businesses will be useful to you. It's kind of unique to me and my personality, but hey, it might be. I'm more than happy to offer advice. Otherwise, if you're an Australian hunting business that wants to connect with me, again, I'd love to have a conversation with you. You can access a email address via the channel. If you go to the About section on this channel, you'll see an email address that you can contact. Otherwise, thanks just so much for watching the videos, and hopefully I see you in a new hunting video soon. All right, see ya.